Good morning, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? I'm not. 7 o'clock in the morning, West Coast time. It's Sunday, the 15th of February, 2020. Oh, 2 more weeks and then the month is over, and then March starts up. This would be the diary of a griever named John Weaver, which is me, who's also a zombie. Not alive, not awake yet. Okay, so last night I was getting some stuff off my chest. And talking about how medications would affect me, how Trump is affecting a hell of a lot of us, how Canada is getting screwed over one way or another. Shout out to the artist in recovery / Darryl P. You were mentioning about white people fearing other people, and it's going to change them entirely. You know, we do have some insecure people out there, don't we? And the insecure people are not liking or dealing with quote unquote wokeism, whatever the hell that crap is, or appreciating people's diversity, not quite sure about equality, and sure as don't like inclusiveness. I've been in an environment here for a long while of dealing with that on a constant basis. I got used to an environment that was not consistent with one race or one skin color, or beliefs, or of faith, or of something. I lived in neighborhoods where there were differences in people, shapes, sizes, hair coloring, skin coloring, how they dressed, how they acted, how they were towards other people. It didn't bother me. My mother was not of the sort where you would have to be afraid. I mean, my mother was inclusive. She was brought up to be raising aware that there was differences. She had been raised in different places where they actually were a little bit prejudicial. You ever heard of the term other side of the tracks? Well, you know, a small town where my mama was growing up, and she wasn't born there, but, you know, transplanted there for a time in her youth and had to move off. A lot of reasons posted in my old videos. And she knew about economic insecurity. If you were well to do, you were on one side of the track, literally. If you weren't, you were on the other side of the track, literally. On the other side, where you were inequality, you lived in a shantytown or something like that. The other one would have more money because whatever reasons. My mother had been bouncing from place to place for various reasons. When she had my brother before me, was married to a guy at a too damn young age. She got older, adult age as well. Found out the guy is a real bastard at that time. Beat my mama once. And she took it as grounds of divorce, I guess. Grabbed my brother, went out to California to raise Dave. Met another schmuck, had me years later. But in the environments that they were in, they were in California, they were in Southern California, they were in the city or county of Los Angeles, somewhere in there. I think it was Huntington Park. And they did have differences. My brother wasn't freaked out about it. He didn't learn to hate people. But he didn't trust anybody either. When I was born out in Downey. Lived out in Huntington Beach actually Huntington Park for a couple of years. Don't even know it. Heard stories about it, but Don't even remember it. And I remember coming and visiting Bell a lot. We had differences of people. Didn't have all white neighborhood, but everyone else was different. But everybody stayed where they were, and the kids were playing. Me, I was raised up in the San Fernando Valley, Bannerman, and Ethel area, in an apartment complex, which did have diversity. I went to Coldwater Canyon Elementary. Prior to that, I went to a preschool. We had diversity in there too. I didn't learn to hate the kids. They were just kids like me. What did I know about it? We didn't skull thump anybody. We didn't hate anybody. We didn't insult anybody. We were just laughing and playing like kids. And I go into elementary school. And yeah, I saw differences too. But I also learned about what racial hatred was all about because we had it visiting us. Now, in the school itself I was going to, the elementary school, we had blacks, we had whites, we had Latino, we had Oriental. Nothing much on the Far East, nothing much on Middle East. It was like homegrown kids. But even with homegrown kids who felt like they were economically disadvantaged because of the places that they lived in. I lived in an apartment complex. My mama was working her ass off, trying to keep the rent, bills, and food going. She was smart. She was using her intelligence. She was trying to keep the roof over their head. Before, during, and after a fucking earthquake in 1971. Across the street, we had projects. I can show you what it looks like currently. Back then, different story altogether. Try to describe it if I can. Means I need to get to Google Earth. Google Earth was a program Google put out a long while ago that would show you things of the past, but also show you things of the present where current landmarks are. What I'm doing right now is locating, if I can get this damn thing to work right, what things were like a long time ago. Where the hell is Google Earth? There it is. Google Earth. Okay, here we go. I'm just waiting for it to pop up here. It'll take about a minute or two, or three or four. It's an old Freddy Daddy computer for an old Freddy Daddy like myself. Anyway. I look at it from time to time when I feel nostalgic, when I feel sick to my stomach. And I need to remember who and what the hell I am. I need to hold on to this damn thing. Jury summons this week. Something I'd rather not go through. No, I'll do another thing concerning about civic service. Right now, I gotta save the damn thing. Called up. I'm on standby per day. So I'll call Tuesday evening, see what's going on. And it's a good thing I called because it kept me from doing a trip over to Tuesday, so consider it a small blessing. I'm still waiting for my computer to bring up the old program, and it's dragging its ass. Okay, so I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to look at Google Earth in the real time. Or close to as we got it anyway. So while my computer's chewing up on the Google Earth thing, I'm doing Google Maps. Okay? Alright, boys and girls, let's go to the San Fernando Valley, shall we? Current time date 2020 something. Hey, come on. A long time ago I wouldn't have done this. No, videos like this, talking to people like this. Isolated, alone. Not dealing with anybody at all. But because we have the advent convention of the video, I'm chewing up on too many flash drives, you know? Alright, here we go. San Fernando Valley. Alright, where are we going? We're going to what they used to call NoHo, or North Hollywood. These changes of territorial names are driving me frickin' crazy. I can look at the layout. It's generally the same thing, but they keep changing titles on it. So, in the freeway system in the San Fernando Valley, we've got going north and south. We have the 405, they call it San Diego. It goes all the way down to San Diego, that's why they call it San Diego. The 405 will head up into the interstate of number 5, which is just Interstate 5. Interstate 5 splits in the San Fernando Valley. One portion, local, Hollywood Freeway, goes right through Hollywood and then joins back up into the 5 freeway down below in downtown Los Angeles area. But in San Fernando Valley, it's just another freeway going through Cahuenga Pass down below, right where Universal Studios is. But I'm heading into a portion of it where the 170 freeway is going to be east of my home, but that is a landmark for me to use. So, I am looking for the street called Van Owen in Coldwater. It is on the west side of the 101. Of 170. The 101 is it's the coastline, basically. It's called Ventura. A freeway goes up to Ventura, breaks off a little bit, but it goes east to west, across the valley. But they call it north to south. Don't ask me why. They just did that crap. You'll see the various large forms of industrial area doing a zigzag, and not to mention that's rail we have in that area. I'm scrolling to an area where I can show you a landmark that you can focus on, okay? There's a park between, what the hell is it, Satakoy and Victory, or longer than that. But it's right along the 170 freeway, that green patch. And then you see things that are diagonals right through on the top of it. That's a landmark. Keep that in mind. Because along it is Sherman Way. Down below would be Van Owen, and down below that would be Victory. So, as I am continuing to locate Van Owen, and I know you are too, you can probably type out Van Owen and Ethel, or Van Owen and Coldwater Canyon. Keep this in mind that we also have we have cement rivers. We have waterways in here to control flooding. And trust me, in times we get the flooding all over the valley, we need these channels to get the water out of here, well past into a water catch basin, but also transferring that also downwards to the ocean. So I am heading to Van Owen and Ethel. And I'm waiting for it finally came up. It finally came up. Took it long enough. So, while this is going on, I'm going to minimize Google Earth and just deal with the regular Google Maps for right now. My computer's drawing on so much resources right now, it's not even funny. Okay. You can do the Google Maps. I have Google Earth. I am going to take off Google Maps on the browser itself. I'm minimizing the internet. So I am going to deal with the Google Earth itself. If you guys ever use the program, it's a decent program. I've had it for a few decades, ever since it came out. Sometimes I get the updates and other times I don't. But it's okay. But I'm also scrolling to the San Fernando Valley again. I know on Google Maps I've got a lot of place marks, and it gets me confused at times. Yeah, Mama, I hear you. I hear you. She's a fuss budget. Okay, so with a strong internet connection, I can also look out where my home is at. Give me 1 second. Getting this off. I don't need that there. I need to see what I'm looking at. Okay, where are we at? Yep. I need well, it's a little off kilter. That's alright. I'll live to deal with it. Along Coldwater Canyon, close to it, is Madison Junior High. James Madison Junior High. Looked a hell of a lot different now than it did back then. Decades can flow and fly by, and everything else is crazy. There's apartment row on Coldwater, actually on Van Owen, stretching from Van Nuys Boulevard, which is the far left, actually far left, west. And sometimes if you get a little closer to it, you'll see all those apartments going. There have been sections where I lived, close to one of the washes I was talking about, where they had public housing. These days it's either Section 8 or low income, but they called it public housing. And this was the area where some of the people growing up over there resented the people who lived in the other apartments across the street. I had lived in such an apartment, not of public housing, but as I said before, Mama was working, so we actually had an apartment to live in. We had a bottom and we had a top. And the top, I remember starting off in there, and well after the 1971 earthquake, we had the bottom. But it still was structurally sound for a few more years. Wasn't collapsed, it was still there. But looking at that place brought back memories of people that I came across as a kid and neighbors that sent their kids over to Coldwater. This was the time before we had busing. We didn't have busing. Your family would drop you off and pick you up. They would do that. But since I lived close enough to home, I walked. On the corner of Coldwater and Van Owen, on the upper left corner, the building was a lot different, and they had more construction in the area. We did have an apartment complex right above us. We had a mall. Not an indoor, but we had an outdoor mall. Called it a mini mall, didn't they? We had a market basket. We had a liquor store. We had delicatessen. We had, did say pharmacy, right? Laundromat. And a few other specialty shops, including in the area, right across the street from us. And yes, we did have owners change places left and right. On the corner of Coldwater and Van Owen, on the southwest corner, used to be the restaurant called Poppin' Taco, an eatery. You can scarf out on a hell of a lot of cheap chili dogs and tacos and chili burgers and hamburgers and fries. This was a hangout for the neighborhood. This is a hangout for the kids with bikes who were running around all over the place. My brother and I would go there. My brother would give me a taco or two, and I'd give me a hot dog. Sometimes we'd bring the food home with us. Other times we'd just hang out there and wait for Mom. Would get dinner. Well, I liked an occasional chili dog. They weren't that bad. They were good. But looking at what the place has changed as, sometimes I can't even. At times I don't know where the hell I am anymore, to tell you the truth. I'm switching the Wayback Machine on the Google Earth to get me to the point where it was like before 1994. Because I hardly ever remembered what the whole damn thing looked like before that January quake hit and all hell broke loose. But apparently I'm looking at Coldwater Canyon and what it used to be like. And half the stuff I don't even remember what the hell it was. I'm going as far as 1989. Let me see if it goes up to 1985. I graduated out of high school in 1985. But it still remained the same. It may have changed a few things, but the playground was still the playground. We did have an area where we played in sand. We had dodgeball, we had handball. And some of the buildings I remembered. I don't recall the changes. Madison didn't change much before the quake either. Quake I'm referring to is the 1994 son of a bitch, I called it, on January 17th, 1994, 4:30 in the morning on a Martin Luther King birthday and a hall breaking loose. Bet this is February, This is February. What is Taco Bell today, back then was, the building didn't change much, except maybe a little bit of modifications, but still. I was hoping maybe to see some differences in the neighborhood, but I didn't. It just doesn't go back far enough, as far as photography goes. But I was talking about also how kids have changed, how things were different back then. I wish I had the photography back then, about 1970s, I could show you what it was like. Google can only go so far. Earlier than that, I wouldn't even have the stuff to tell you or show you. And it makes me feel quite old. It really does. It makes me a little sick to my stomach sometimes. No, because there are certain areas of the San Fernando Valley I remember back in the 80s because I was a teenager growing up in those times. I remembered old neighborhoods and old streets that I used to live on, and how they were the same. Houses and housing were the same, but how I was raised, a lot different. They say you start remembering things when you got older. Well, maybe. Some forgotten things, anyway. Yeah, there was racial tension. There was racial tension. I'm not saying it was a peaceful time. I actually did have a few blacks fighting little kids because they thought they could. There was also junior high kids doing the same damn thing. I think these kids were in junior high. And my brother didn't take too kindly about it. He beat them up as well. Well, we tried to anyway. Kids start fighting it back against the older kids from junior high. Left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. I don't care. We were fighting for our lives. You fight for survival, you fought dirty. So I was taught. But the problem is I was also being taught how to hate, and I didn't want that. Because I had black friends. I had friends that were Latino, Chinese, or white, and black. I wasn't raised to hate until you move in certain neighborhoods. Let's talk about that one next video.